What is your relationship with time? Are you wired and tired, stressed and overwhelmed, busy and going nowhere? Or just want to scale your business? Welcome to Take Back Time with your host, Penny Zenker. Penny focuses on books, strategies, tools, and tips to help you work smarter and approach your time more strategically. As a result, you can have more energy, focus, and get more done in less time. Be more efficient and effective. Get ready to take back time.
Hello, and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker, and I'm your host. And on this show, we are dedicated to bring you tools, tips, and resources that are going to help you take back time. Now, I know, spoiler alert, you can't actually change the amount of time that you have, but you can be smarter about the way that you work and more strategic. And that's why I have great guests on the show to help you do that. Pullein is an exact example of that because he's really dedicated his life to working in productivity, time management, and really goal setting and goal planning. He's actually living in Korea of all places, so we'll hear a little bit more about that. And he's written 3 books on productivity and time management, and he coaches companies and individuals around the world through his Time and Life Mastery and Your Digital Life courses. So he is committed to you and your time management. Carl, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
Now, tell me, what is this passion, obsession, whatever you want to call it? Why is time management and productivity so important to you?
This started way back when I was in middle school. Now, in middle school, I used to make these, and it wasn't digital when I was at middle school. I'm too old for that, but it was pen and paper. It was a pen, paper, and a ruler. And I used to make these revision timetable for my exam. I used to love setting it all out, the times, everything was on there. I'd plan it out perfectly. The problem I had was I was just actually terrible at doing revision and never actually followed through, but I loved creating the schedules. When I was analyzing this a few years ago, I thought, yeah, that's when the seed started.
Interesting.
And as soon as my parents bought me, I don't know if you know these, but they were called a Filofax.
Oh, yeah, of course. I had a Filofax. I know we're dating ourselves, but...
It was the yuppie brigade, but gorgeous, and I was filled everything out, and then I gradually went on to Franklin Planner, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed that. And I think probably about 20 years ago, I got into really understanding the actual time management part, right, not just the design part. And yeah, it was fantastic. And that's where the passion grew. And it's always been there. And I think it just came because I started my life in Korea 20 years ago, actually, near enough. And teaching was where it came from. Eventually, I realized I could teach this. I've done 25 years of playing around with productivity and time management and goal planning. It's time I started teaching what I learned. So that's when it all started from.
Fantastic. Now, tell me, have you embraced fully the digital age? Like, do you do most of your time management planning digitally, or do you still do some on paper?
I'm totally digital now. I mean, I do have, because I have a love of fountain pens. And so I can't really give that up completely. But if I'm being honest, I probably use a pen maybe once a week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, I am totally digital.
I'm asking you that because also I think that sometimes people feel like they have to switch to a certain mode. And I still do a number of things for myself that aren't digital. And like I do mind maps and I like to write them out. I do have some digital, but I also like to write out the way that I do my to-do list in this chunking method. I like to write it out. What would you say about that to people who are sort of 1 foot in and 1 foot out? Is that good or is that not good or what?
I don't know. I mean, it really depends. One thing I have learned is everybody is different. Actually, for me, it's more a case of the mood I'm in. So Friday nights for me, I use I call it my self-development evening. And at some point I'll sit down and catch up on a few YouTube videos I want to watch. And sometimes I'm just in the mood to take notes using just a little, I think it's a Baron Fig. It's a really tiny little notebook, but it's perfect for fountain pens. So, and I'll just start writing like the stuff that I'm learning in these YouTube videos. So yeah, it depends on the mood, but I would say 90% of the time I just open up Apple Notes and just start typing. It's just habit now.
Yeah. And I think what I want to highlight for people, at least this is my opinion, and you said it, everyone's different. So you have to find what works for you, right? And I think that because sometimes I'd like to be more digital, but when I work with, let's say, Excel and things like that, there's certain things that work really well for me on Excel, but like to-do lists or different types of lists, it doesn't give me a proper overview because I have to keep scrolling. And I don't know, it doesn't work for me, right? It creates more stress than it does relieve the stress. So I think that's an important thing for people is to realize and determine, give something enough of a chance, but to recognize what works and what doesn't work.
I think that's a big problem actually for a lot of people today is they feel they have to be digital, and it's not true. If you like, bullet journaling, for example, is huge.
Yeah.
I love that concept, and I do love my technology as well, so I tend to stick with the technology. But maybe there's going to be a time when I think I'm just going to give bullet journaling a real go, and I will. And it will be, I can imagine it being so much fun.
Well, you can use your fountain pen.
I can, yes, exactly. Different colored inks. Oh, heaven.
Right. So it depends, right? For a creative mind who likes to use different colors, like I've seen people do mind maps with different colors and different drawings and things. And because they're more creative, it helps them to bring the two sides of their brain together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me, what is your favorite thing to teach that you think makes the biggest impact? Or maybe there are two things. What's your favorite thing to teach? And what is it that you teach that makes the biggest impact for people?
Well, the biggest thing that I teach, and we go through this with all my coaching clients, and I've done it in a lot of my YouTube videos as well, and my courses, is what I call the 2+8 prioritization method. And this came about because for a whole year, I monitored how many tasks I could actually get done each day. And given that in a very distracting world these days, we talked about the digital things. I mean, they're coming at us all the time. And I know people say, well, turn off notifications, and go, yeah, right. That's not necessarily as easy as people might think.
I don't know about that. I think that we make it hard.
I know some people can do it, but I've got like text messaging to me, instant messaging is something that I need to know about immediately. Sure, email, I can let go. I don't worry about email. I always do that every day at some point. It's not when it comes in. So email, I don't have notifications, and Facebook and Twitter, stuff like that I don't have. But for me, instant messaging, that's how my wife, my mother, and my students would contact me in an emergency. So I need to know. For everybody's going to be different, but I don't really like it when people say, oh, all you have to do is turn off notifications. Sure, that sounds really simple. But as again, everybody is different.
Right.
And depends, like living in a foreign country from where my parents are, my mother needed me. I learned the lesson. Don't send my mother a text message at 3 a.m. in the morning, her time.
Oh, yeah. She'll be nervous that something happened.
Yeah, because she doesn't turn on Do Not Disturb at night. And so it wakes her up. So I've learned that lesson. I have to wait. But for me, everyone, again, it's different in the cases. But the 2+8 prioritization, what I realized is that realistically, you can get 10 meaningful tasks done a day. This doesn't include your routines like take out the garbage, walk the dog.
Right.
Whatever. But 10 meaningful tasks a day, 2 of which I make my objectives. So these 2 things, if I don't do anything else that day, as long as I do those 2 things, I've had a good day. So those can be a professional objective or a personal objective. To Christmas, we tend to gain a little bit of weight. So January is, I can guarantee that exercise is going to be on my objective for the day pretty much every day. But right now, I've got my weight back down. Yeah.
So that's one of the two. Okay.
Yeah. The other one could be like write a blog post or record a podcast or do a video or prepare an online course. But it's always something meaningful, not something is trivial. That's not going to move my life forward.
So it's something, just to put it in my language, the more perspectives of how people hear this, maybe they'll understand it even better. It's the strategic things that absolutely either must get done that day or are really moving you forward strategically in what's important in your business, correct?
For me, it's the strategic thing. It's moving forward. It has to move me forward in a goal or professionally.
Right.
Those are the objectives. That's kind of the criteria for the objective. Okay. The other 8 tasks are just like the normal day-to-day work, but just have to be done.
Gotcha.
So I might have an important presentation to finish. That would be probably one of the 8. Could be an objective if it was like time sensitive, had to be done that day. But I'm usually better organized than that. I've usually got myself a bit of leeway on my presentation preparation.
Right. Well, I like that. So that's a good representation of the 80-20, right? 20% is on your strategic goals, giving you 80% to get the things done that have to get done. Because I don't know what you think about the one thing. Like, I think that's BS, right? I mean, really, like, that's not life. That's like your thing with the notifications.
yeah. So, I mean, the reality is for me is that once I picked that one up, once I started doing that, it's probably about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, and making sure you do it the night before. If you do it in the morning, you're missing out on probably the most effective time of the day for you. So you do it before you finish. Now, with my coaching clients, I say, give yourself 15 minutes before you close out the day. So if they finish at 6, at 5:45, set an alarm on an Apple Watch or on your computer or on your phone, do the 2+8. And you just decide what are you going to do tomorrow, and then you can forget about it. There is another advantage here. It means that when you go home, you're not thinking about, I've got to do this tomorrow, I've got to do this tomorrow, I've got to do this tomorrow, because you've already done that. You know what you're going to do tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So you can actually go home and relax and just enjoy your family time, enjoy time with your friends or whatever.
And then when you wake up, you're like off and running, right? You're not spinning your wheels in the morning trying to figure out. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's been working for me fantastically now for 2 or 3 years. And I couldn't go to bed now without at least doing some of that. The two objectives at least.
Absolutely. It gets you really clear and really focused. I love that. I have something I call the 1-3-5, very similar in that nature. So that's important. So for anybody who's listening, right, whatever the system is for you, it's to plan it the night before, right? That's what I'm hearing you say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Plan it the night before so you're getting a good night's sleep. And your mind is also thinking about what you're doing in that time. So you're going to make that time even more effective. And then you'll get off and running first thing in the morning. So I love that. So plan before.
Well, one of the things is it engages the subconscious mind as well, which is brilliant because most people don't know about how effective how powerful your subconscious mind is. It's like when you go to bed, you have this real big problem on your mind. You wake up, you've got the solution. You think, where did that come from? Came from your subconscious mind.
Right. So, and when you know those two things you're going to do, right, your subconscious mind is already doing it. Like it's already, getting that article
there.
written.
You're ready, bang, boom, and you're gone. Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. So that's the one.
So that's the most powerful thing that I've been doing, and I now teach and coach, is because it is so effective.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that.
Distractions are the enemy of productivity. Go to distractionquiz.com and find out your distraction profile. Are you a time zombie or a hamster? Take this free distraction quiz today to rate your ability to focus on what keeps you from being a wizard. Go to distractionquiz.com.
What would you say in terms of your favorite tool? Said you're really 90% or whatever digital. What's your favorite tool that helps you to organize or do what it is that makes things successful?
My life is run by an app called Todoist.
Todoist, okay.
I couldn't live without Todoist. I know it's horrible to think because if something ever happened to Todoist, I'm going to be lost. Actually, I wouldn't be lost because one of the things I do know is that I could transport my system into another app if I had to.
Of course.
Fortunately, Todoist is definitely cash positive. They don't have outstanding loans or anything like that. They're a strong company.
Perfect.
They're doing amazing things. So that is the app that is my go-to. I mean, I collect everything in there. It drops into the inbox, so it's so fast, so easy from my phone or my computer. So that basically organizes, if you like, all my to-dos.
So tell me, so when you say it drops into you, I don't know that tool. I don't use that one. And for sure, there's a lot of people listening who don't know that. Is it email-based when you say it drops into your inbox?
No. It's an app that you just have on your phone and your computer, actually. And it's just when you tap to open the app,
yep,
you're there, your inbox, and you just start typing.
Okay, so it's easy
really
to capture.
Fast to capture, yeah, very, which is important.
Awesome.
Really
easy
important,
to capture.
actually.
Yes, it is, because then you can get off. It's like something you have to quickly put on your to-do list and then go back to what you were doing. Helps you to quickly do that. Tell me some other things features or reasons why you love Todoist.
Well, one of the things is on the surface, Todoist is very simple to use, which is good. It's not a big, steep learning curve, but it's got the power behind it to go as complex as you want it to be. Now, I'm very much more into the minimalist side of productivity, so I keep things simple.
Yes.
But I have a lot of clients whose the way they think like in projects, sub-projects, labels and tags and all sorts of things. Todoist can do all that for you if you want to use that power. I personally don't, but it depends on the kind of thought processes you have, the way your brain is wired.
Yes.
I'm very much more big picture viewing. I know a lot of people and work with a lot of people who really like to get into the weeds and to really have things detailed, planned out. Todoist will do that for you. And it has some very, very strong, like what we call filters.
Mm-hmm.
So I can pick, if I want to see a particular view, it could be like my objectives for the next 7 days, if I'd already planned them. I can easily show that in a field. So it's really easy to create filters and stuff like that. So
great. Does it manage a process?
It's very beautiful as well.
Can it manage a process? So like if you want to move a task through planned doing.
Oh, no. That more like Kanban board, if you like. You would. The rumors are that feature will be coming maybe later this year. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just asking. But I know what you mean. Yeah, the Kanban board, if you were that kind of person, that kind of thinking, I would probably recommend Trello or Asana for that, because they work. That's the way they're set up.
Okay.
Todoist is not like that. It's more linear. It's more just lists.
Gotcha.
But it works well for me. So
perfect. Awesome. Is there anything else, any other tool that you swear by?
Well, if we were talking 6 months ago, I would have said Evernote, but...
have you moved away from Evernote?
Not entirely. Evernote is great on my desktop. It's still solid. It's brilliant, but I've been having so many problems with it on my phone and my iPad. So I'm kind of using Apple Notes a lot more than I used to, but hopefully I'm praying that will be a temporary fix.
Okay.
I've been using Evernote for over 10 years.
Yeah.
But like I say, Evernote is solid on my desktop, and I still use it quite a bit on my desktop because I have a lot of templates that I use in there for planning and stuff. But for quick notes, like the notes for this podcast, for example, we're straight into Apple Notes.
Gotcha.
Because it works on my phone, my iPad, obviously.
Right.
It's Apple, so it works brilliantly. But no, I would say Evernote is still there. It's still one of my go-to apps.
Okay, awesome. I like to ask, because it's interesting, even though, like you said, everybody's different. So each productivity and time management expert has a different way of thinking and has different tools, and it might open people's perspectives to check some new tools out.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, I like to ask people, because I think this is an interesting thing too. What's your definition of productivity and why? I've gotten totally different answers from everyone.
Well, for me, it's actually getting what needs to be done, so that you can spend more time doing the stuff that you really want to do.
Uh-huh.
And that's because a lot of the people I work with, actually I work with a lot of senior executives, and they generally just love their job. But I also work, particularly here in Korea, I work with a lot of just regular office workers, middle managers, and so on. And the look on their face on a Monday morning, it looks like to them it's just a daily drudge to earn some money. Right. And I think that's not a good life.
No.
But for me, it's like, but I understand we have to earn an income, we have to earn a living. But, if we can shorten that time so we can maximize the time so we can do the things we really want to do, like hang out with the people we want to do, read the books we want to do, create the stuff we want to create. That to me is the definition. If you've got the time to do that, then you are being very productive.
Awesome. Okay.
So great. For me, that would be my definition of productivity, is being able to create the time to be able to do the things that you really want to do.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And you mentioned books. Tell me, what are your top 2 books that have really made an impact on you, and why that is?
Ooh, well, it's got to be David Allen's Getting Things Done, because that is the Bible. And I actually read that about 10 years ago and 11 years ago now. And I still refer back to that when I start to feel a little bit, hang on a minute, things are not quite feeling right. I just go back to that book.
Right.
But there's quite a lot of books that it's kind of the Bible. But I also go back even further than that, which is a book by Hiram Smith. I forgot the title of it, but it's a very old book now. But that was a time management book. It's the 10 Rules of Life and Time Management.
Yeah. Something
like that, by Hiram Smith. He was the guy who actually created the original Franklin Planner.
I know.
So
he actually wrote the intro to my book.
Oh, wow.
Met Hiram.
So you know Hiram Smith then, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing book. And that was my first real time management book. And I recently found it again on Kindle.
Yeah.
So I bought it on Kindle and I reread it and I thought, wow, it's still good.
You should check out also his 3 Gaps. Have you read that?
I haven't. No, that's the only book I'd read was of his book.
Check it out. It's based on the same principles, but has some different ways of presenting it. It's a good read.
Yeah. That was the first.
So just highlight again. So what was it that changed for you by reading that book?
The biggest thing in both books, actually, both Getting Things Done and Hiram Smith's book, was write it down.
Okay.
Because I think, like most people, I believed that my brain had this unlimited capacity to remember everything. And then when I was at the supermarket, I always forgot to pick up the milk. Something as simple as that, and you just forget, and you think, I knew I needed milk, but you only remember when you open the refrigerator door.
Right.
And you go,
and then you're
why?
like,
Exactly. The lessons I learned from both those books, and there's a wonderful example in Hiram Smith's book where somebody called him and said, okay, I'm not ready yet, but can you get back to me in 3 months' time? He said, sure. And, in his Franklin planner, he wrote it down, the exact time of the day. And when he called him back, you remember I spoke to you 3 months ago on the 2nd of February at 10:45 a.m. And he's going, wow, I'm hiring you.
Right. Well, absolutely. Yeah. Right.
And that story just stuck in my head because I realized, write it down.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's true. Why do we think it just creates more stress to keep it in our heads? So for everybody who's listening, stop the stress. Right? Yes. Stop the tug of war with time and write it down, whatever the form is. That's why there's actually an app called Remember the Milk, right? It's funny because that's a great example that everybody has experienced. So that's great. So I wish we could continue chatting and sharing tips. We'll have to at least bring this particular episode to close. Is there anything that we haven't covered yet before I ask you to share your information that you feel stands out in your work that you want to share with the audience?
The biggest thing is just have a place that you collect everything that comes to mind, because you'll never remember everything, and make sure you trust that place. And it doesn't matter whether it's just a simple notebook or it's an app on your phone or just a simple notes app on your phone. Just get into the habit of collecting your ideas, your tasks, thoughts in there, because you never know. One of those ideas might turn into $1 billion business, because the businesses have to start somewhere. It could be the next chapter of your life, but it can easily be lost as well, just like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you record it, you have it to go back to.
Head it down. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've got something. Oh, yeah, I had that idea 6 months ago. Now I'm ready to do something with it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you don't write it down, you've lost it.
Before we go, that brings me up to a point. Let's say everything is written down. Do you personally have a process where you go back and review ideas that you've captured and things like that so that you can remember, oh yeah, this is important. I think I'm ready for this now. Or what do you do with your old notes?
Well, what usually happens is I find that my notes get linked together. So I will have an idea the other day. I have an Apple productivity course, very popular. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. Why don't I do a Google one and a Microsoft one? Now, I had the Google idea about 2 years ago, but suddenly it's 2 years later, it starts to link together. Whoa, right. I could create a series on something like Skillshare, where just a really simple basic course to show people how to use those tools that come free with your computers and phones.
Absolutely.
To build an effective productivity system. But the first initial idea was, why don't I do this with Google? Came 2 years ago. But suddenly, and I looked and found the original note, and I linked it with the Microsoft note and thought, and that's now actually in development right now. So hopefully later this year, that will come out. But the original idea I had was 2 years ago. So thank you, Evernote. See, I can't let go of Evernote.
Yeah, there you go. You can't let it go.
Those ideas are in there. And I know there's a lot of ideas that I can pull out at any time to develop a new course, a new program, or something.
Absolutely. And that is the benefit of having digitally, right? I use Evernote for capture too. And it's got a really great search system.
Absolutely.
That's the advantage is you go, I think I had this thought a while ago. Let me go and search it. And then bam, there it is. So awesome.
Yeah. So that's the big tip for me is write it down. You never know when it might come useful.
That is so true. So thank you. Perfect thing to start with for people who are getting started, or a reminder for people who may have gotten away from capture is really doing that. So where can they find more information about you and also some of these courses that you're talking about? I know that you're all over YouTube too.
Yeah, the best place to find me is actually through my website, which is carlpullein.com, because you can get to my YouTube channel, podcast, blog, and all the online courses, and all the stuff I do is on there. So it's very easy to find.
Fantastic. So it will also be in the show notes for those of you who are trying to figure out how to spell that and everything.
Yeah.
It'll be here with the show notes. And so thank you so much for being here. It was a great,
thanks for having me.
Session.
No, thank you for having me.
And for you who are listening, thank you for being here, because without you, we wouldn't have a show. And really, it's our dedication to bring you these tips, these reminders, these tools. There were a lot of good nuggets here, especially on how to prioritize your day. Carl's method of 2 to 8. Is that what you called it? I'm looking at my
2 plus
notes
8.
here. 2 plus 8, right? So remember the 2 plus 8 or whatever format and system that you use, but use that as an idea of balancing what's important and what's urgent. That's going to help you during the day to be able to manage both of those and feel really good at the end of the day. So thank you for being here. My name is Penny Zanker, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening. Today's topic is another opportunity for you to put the knowledge you learned into practice. Tune in again next week for more strategies that will help you have more energy and focus to get more done in less time, so you can continue to take back time.